and Happy New Year. Welcome to our special week here at Guiding Star Astrology, where all our providers are offering some special discounts and opportunities for you to expand and grow into the new year. And not least of which is our wonderful past life regressionist and face reader extraordinaire, Robyn Jordan. It's lovely to have you with us today, Robyn.
Thank you, Kesenya. Hello to fellow travellers of life. I'm really looking forward to sharing some interesting stories today.
Yes, Robyn's going to be sharing all about face reading with us, which is another component of what she offers as a part of her service at Guiding Star Astrology. And Robyn, your services are on special for the first 2 months of 2022, are they not?
They absolutely are. I'm going to offer 20% off past life regression therapy session, and I'm going to be talking about face reading today. So as face reading is the first integral part of a past life regression session, I'm really excited to share what that is about.
We're all excited to hear about it because as someone who's had a face reading with you, I know how astounding it can be, and I want people to know about this really special component. It's so precious that you offer these two components together as a part of the one reading with a past life regression work. So if you would like to make the most of this wonderful 20% off offer with Robyn, then just head to the description below or the link below and make your booking quickly, because she will get booked up very fast with that special discount. Yes. So Robyn, do you want to tell us a little about what face reading is, or, you know, maybe the background of face reading for those people who've never heard of it?
Yeah, well, as a past life regression therapist, I use face reading to explore the evolution of the soul within each individual's framework. So there's a thread where neither family or environment speak. It's like meeting pure self, sort of soul evolution. It is evolution of the soul. And it reflects where we've been, where we are, who we know we are, and what is your journey. So I begin each past life regression session with a face reading with what we call face splits. And these are photos that create full face images of the right outer masculine and the left inner feminine faces.
So you use a technology to photograph someone, and you can do this even via Zoom or, you know.
Oh, absolutely. It works perfectly. Yeah. It's very exciting how well it all works with Zoom. Absolutely.
Terrific. And so you take a photo of someone and then split their face down the middle. And then
so you see the
like mirror of both sides?
Yes, you see both sides. So you're looking at yourself, you're seeing the photo taken, the right-hand side as a whole face and the left-hand side as a whole face.
Right. And there's quite a difference between the two, isn't there, often?
There can be, and yes, for most of us there is, yes, because we're all on an evolutionary journey, and it's part of that expression of the evolutionary journey. Right. Yeah, because it shows us how we communicate, and the uniqueness. It's so unique to each person of our present day life journey. So we're hearing within the exploration, because it's us working together. So I'm not just telling you, we're having an interaction within it. I'm getting an understanding of how you feel within that process. So we're hearing the unique language of each individual, and it's worked with to lead to an intention of what you want to explore in a past life. So it's about where you are in soul essence now, and we're exploring to clear what needs to be cleared so your soul can continue to take the journey.
Right. So you've been trained in this modality, and so you can look at a person's split, and am I correct in thinking that one side of the face is a masculine side and one side of the face is a feminine?
Absolutely right, yes. Right hand side masculine, what you're showing out to people. Left hand side feminine, your internal expression within you, more private. Yeah.
Okay. So in seeing that masculine feminine in a person, you've been trained to sort of analyze where the soul is at on their journey and what themes they're exploring. Is that what you mean?
Yes, it is. Yeah. The fascination with the face is everything you need to know about yourself or another person is written in the face. And because the whole body is represented in the face, we're reading all of who you are. And with my work with this, we're going deeper into the soul evolution within that by working with the past life therapy.
Right. And does it make any difference what your age is? Because I know when everybody's young, everybody's quite beautiful and pretty and all that sort of thing in our youth. But as we age, our soul, I feel, tends to come out in our expression. If we're a bit cranky, it kind of shows in our face. If we've got is that part of what you would see?
Sort of the age of wisdom, but I've worked with young people, 18 years of age. I think of a young lady that I've been working with, and the wisdom is there then because she's had so many lifetimes, and it's quite exciting that she's actually meeting that at such a young age in this present lifetime.
So age is no barrier to being able to see what you need to see.
Yeah. Yes, 100 years of age, we'll still do a face reading for you. Because when we meet face to face, it's often it is the first point of contact when we meet someone. If you think about when you're meeting someone in whatever circumstance, whether it's family, whether it's friends, whether it's the work situation or complete stranger, you do meet face to face. That is where you get the first understanding of who you're standing with. The more you know about what is in the face, the more you can be that beautiful connection with another being. No judgment. No judgment at all. Just meeting them, seeing them for who they are. And sometimes it's the first...
Sorry to interrupt.
I was just going to say, sometimes it's the first time someone is seen, truly seen. And I've had people say, but you've never met me before. How can you see all of that in this moment? Because we haven't ever met before. Well, we may have. We don't know sometimes.
That's right.
So it's so profound. It's so respectful. It's just seeing who they are and then being aware of how they need to be with themselves as well. And that comes with working with many, many faces over many years. It's an absolute gift of recognizing and accepting someone for who they are, because we're really looking into the essence of soul. We know whether we need to be gentle and sensitive, or we can be outgoing and playful. It just makes such a difference to how we interact with others. Yeah.
Do you think that we as human beings at a very subconscious level are reading faces when we meet people?
I think, yes, we do. And we're not necessarily aware of that, but, innately, yes, you will be doing that. It's when you begin to have the greater awareness that you can then make the difference for the other person.
Yeah. So what you've done is really brought that subconscious process into your conscious knowing, and are applying that in the service that you offer them.
Absolutely. I'm actually going to just go through what it is to go through the process of a face reading so people can understand what what all the components are, what the experience is like, how respectful it is, how deep it is, how exciting it is to meet all of who we are in that moment of sitting face to face with another person.
Right.
So we always begin with the shape of the face, because this is our blueprint we've come in with. We're looking at the bone structure or the skeletal structure. We're feeling the bone structure. We're seeing how it is. And it can be a number of shapes. It can be a circle, it can be an oval, it can be a square, a rectangle, a triangle. And yes, there will be combinations, but we're just looking for that initial blueprint of the shape. So if we find someone has the square features, we know we've got someone who's earthy, practical, very much the doer, not so much the thinker. So if you want something done, ask the one with the square face, because you will get everything that you need done. We then expand it, and we can see it expands into the rectangle. So it's that extension of the square. So there's some of those aspects in someone with a rectangular face. The rectangle goes more into being the humanitarian. Right. High ideals, being the philosopher, being the absolute supporter of another. Then we have the circle. The circle is the nurturer.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Often very childlike. They'll emotionally do anything for you, but sometimes it comes through as being quite childlike and playful. But for their own selves, they often hold on and not let out their own personal emotions. They're all there for someone else. Right. They don't always meet who they are. Interesting. And we see the oval face. So with the oval face, the bone structure across here presents out. So it's no longer a rectangular, it becomes the oval. Very feminine, very sensitive, very emotional, idealistic. They care for others and they care for others' point of view. We then have the interesting triangle. So the first one where you've got the strong base comes up to a point. So we know they've got a strong base, they're stable, they are single-minded and sometimes very stubborn. And then you've got the triangle pointing downwards. High intellect, so we've got the breadth here, very sensitive, because you've got the base here that's on a point, so it can move into that sensitivity. Very intuitive, because of this strong point down into the physical aspect. They often need grounding within that. Right. Yeah. And yes, there are combinations in each of our faces, but this just gives us that first knowing of who we're meeting through that blueprint. This
is so empowering. I mean, to have that skill is just, I want that.
Oh, everyone can have it once you learn it and you work with it, because we're doing it every day, because we're meeting people face to face every day. When we have the extra knowing, we can then be with them with compassion. There's no judgment in any of this. We're just meeting someone for who they are. Yeah. And that's special, because then the interaction between two people can be its absolute truth.
It's so beautiful. And of course, I'm intrigued. What shape is my face? I just want to know.
Yeah, well, you have got the high ideals. So you have got the rectangle face. Yeah.
Thank you.
Strong jaw, and I'll talk about the strong jaw in a moment as well. Yeah. So we know you can deliver. But then you've also got more of the softness as well around here. So we know that the delivery is strong, but it's also gentle and soft, but it's also empowering. So that's what I see when I first meet you.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah. And when we talk about the eyes, your eyes sparkle. They're full of love and knowing. So we'll talk about that too in a moment. So you'll begin to get a deeper understanding of you. Yeah. So we then look at, there are 3 zones. There's the mental, that's the hairline and down to the top of the eyebrows. Then there's the emotional, which is the eyebrows to below, just at the nose level and all the way around, always taking in all of the tissue, because we could say tissue equals issues. We understand a lot by the feel and the sense of the tissue as well. And then we have the physical, the rest of the way around, down to the chin and back. So we look at each person to see, are they more in their mental, their emotional, their physical? Are they well balanced within those? What do they prefer to work with? Are they totally emotion? Are they physically there and they're the doer? Do they sit in their mental space? Or have they got it? Is it beautifully balanced within each of those? So within that, we're looking at structure, we're looking at tissue, very, very important aspect. So yes, the percentages of the volume of each zone is important for us to see.
Wow.
Yeah. So when we start with the mental, it's all about the frame of mind. So the right-hand side, as we've said, is the masculine. The left-hand side is the feminine. The masculine is about relationship with dad. The feminine is relationship with mum. And this is about the impact on you of that relationship. The center point here is about us, our relationship with us. How do we deliver through who we are? So we then look at the 3 levels of the forehead. So here we've got an observation point. It's interesting to look at the bone structure and the tissue to see how someone observes life. Is it soft and flowing? And if I'm working with someone on Zoom, I can ask them to use their hand to move through, and I can see how much the tissue moves, how much it doesn't move. You can see very strong bone structures above here of the one who observes with a great deal of depth.
Right.
Then we move into the midpoint here, which is about the past. It's the history. It's the detail. For some, it's important to know, and as you're making a decision, what did I do yesterday, 2 weeks ago, 10 years ago, in my childhood? It can all sit within that framework. It's important for someone to be able to go into that space. And I'll talk about angles in a moment. And then we have the imagination. How do we actually deliver that through? This is moving into the future. So we're observing, we may go to the past, and then we deliver through.
Wow. So you can see how someone is handling or going to handle what is to come. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, absolutely. You know, what is their process of working with whatever's happening in their life? And there's no rights or wrongs. It's part of who you are and your structure, how you do it.
Wow.
Yeah. The other thing we look at is the angle of the forehead. It's fascinating to begin to note the angle of someone's forehead, because some people, like myself, I'm straight up and down. So I need to observe and take it all in. I need to go to the past point and form my opinion on what I've done before So I need to look at my history, whether it's yesterday or it's right back into childhood, to understand how do I want to move with whatever I'm deciding on. And then we get to this point here where we deliver it through. Some people have strong angles in their forehead, and you'll begin to, once you know this, you begin to notice it more and more in someone, because they observe, they don't want to spend time in what they've done before in their past. They are wanting to deliver through straight away. They may often leave out detail. Someone with the straight up and down takes in all the aspects, all the detail. The one with the angle forehead, yep, I've seen what I want to do, let's go and do it.
Right.
And they may then realise, oh, I didn't think about dung, 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 dung. It's just who they are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that you see it that way, like completely non-judgmentally about it. And I find astrology is the same as well. You know, this is just how you're wired astrologically. And the same, I guess, with face reading, it's just how your soul is configured to experience this lifetime.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And this is the deep respect you have each time you meet someone. You look and you say, I know how they need to be with themselves. Yeah. Then I can hold their hand and walk with them, and I'm understanding them with every step we take.
Yes.
Yeah. So we then look at hairlines. So you've got the hairlines where people are, it's high and it's wide open. They're very practical, methodical people. They're very open-minded. They have a broad point of view. And these aspects I'm going to speak about are all important in knowing how to be with someone. You might have high, but a little bit narrower. The hair comes in here. They have very high ideals as well, but they might be a little close-minded in how they perceive things. It will be very much about them, and maybe they don't take in that broader point of view. When you see the curve, you're seeing that really intuitive, imaginative, very open, very individual person. When we've got a peak that comes like this, where the hair is going to a point at the top here, a lot of conditioning still apparent. They can be very single-minded, and they can have a very narrow point of view. They can't see beyond their own point of view. We then have the widow's peak, you know, the M, when you see the M, very rebellious, can be frustrated. But they're sensitive, they're artistic, they love themselves. They do need applause, and yet they will accept help. It's quite a beautiful experience. When we get to the jagged hairline, so you've got the hair going everywhere, every which way, they're very rebellious,
right?
Frustrated. They've experienced a lot of conditioning and restraint in their early life. So it's important to work with them within that framework. Yeah.
So in seeing these sorts of components, like you've just mentioned, being frustrated in the early life, you would see that in a face read, and then you would probably find that would be those issues of their frustration would be what comes out in their regression work. Would that
absolutely, absolutely. That's what they desire eventually to work with, because they're beginning to experience themselves within that process. It's important also to look at the female lineage and the male lineage. You often see the hairs, particularly on the female side, that the hair's coming down like this, and you immediately say, oh, there's mother smother.
So people who've got fringes.
Yes, when people have fringes, there's a protection of a particular side of them. For you at the moment, it's definitely the feminine side, just protecting that aspect, the right side open, ready to be part of the interaction, and just keeping that feminine side a little bit private for the moment. Yeah.
I'm actually thinking of growing my fringe out, so
that
will make a difference.
And it's quite liberating for people who have the strong fringes when you ask them just to lift up, and it's like you see a totally different face because they've allowed that last part of them to be open,
right,
and be able to be expressed. So it's allowing more balance between the right and the left components of you, bringing that deeper emotional feminine aspect out for others to see. You sometimes see the cow lick and you go, there's the rebel. The rebel. Yeah. 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 So the eyebrows are absolutely fascinating. And I'm looking at the beautiful definition of your eyebrows, even from this distance, I can see that. And even though your hair covers one eyebrow, and that's, yes, and because that's how we work with delivering something through. So we're working with the left-hand side, delivering something through. If the hair's covering it, there may be a reluctance to bring through what is sitting there within it, the expression of the eyebrow. So it's really about understanding head with heart. It may be about seeing what are the creators and what are the suppressors of expression. What is your point of view? And we're looking at whether hairs are up or down. So if something's up, open and expressive, if something's down, it's more internal, private. So if you see the boomerang eyebrows, it's a lot about independence. So I'll tell you that.
Yes, that's what I've got.
The lady of independence sits before me.
Very much.
Yeah. If the hairs are, if they're low set, the eyebrows, so you see low down here, there's a lot about suppression and control and restricting their point of view.
Interesting.
Wow. If they're high set, you've got that real devil may care attitude, and yet they have this incredible trust of other people, and they might not speak up on their own behalf. So sort of playful and devil may care, but not allowing all of who they are to come through. If you see straight, they may be up straight, they may be low straight. So you're taking in both those components. They're very practical people, and we need practical people. They may be a bit unimaginative. They're more about facts and not about emotions. You know, this is what we're going to do. And each one has their place. So we look at hairs, whether they're going up or down. We see hairs going up and we know they're brave and they accept challenges. When hairs are going down, it's like that loss of energy. They may be emotionally stressed. When the eyebrows are thin, that person may just not have that inner sparkle, that direction of purpose. When they're thick and bushy, we know we've got the aggressive, enthusiastic being.
Shout out one of our ex-prime ministers who had the most horrendous eyebrows I've ever seen, John Howard.
Absolutely.
I can have a look at his face.
Yes, it's a fascinating face, you are correct. Yeah. But if the hairs are moving in lots of different directions, you're getting that almost irritable, aggressive.
Yeah, that's what he had.
Yeah. And there's often a lot, and this is interesting in itself, there's often a lot of internal conflict in their decision making. Yeah. Do they speak their own truth? Who knows? Yeah. When you see that joining together in here, because you've got that nice gap between the eyebrows, so we know your generosity that sits there. That's part of showing the generosity of someone. When you see the hairs come in and join here, that person's very combative, they're very competitive, they can be very explosive because it's cutting off the feelings.
So Robyn, I have to ask a question for those of us, probably mostly women, who pluck their eyebrows or wax or do it, whatever. Does that impact their character when we change our face like that?
Absolutely. If you change something on your face, it's yours, and whatever it creates for you is yours as well. Wow. And it's a great way of being able to change. Someone may say, I think of my mother who had basically no eyebrows. For someone who has no eyebrows, you can now get them defined, and that changes your expression. Yeah. You are free to do what you like. Even when you see the mother smother hair, etc., which tells us about the relationship with mother-father, you can pluck all of those out and create a clear line around here. I've had that experience myself. Wow. About 10 years ago. And it was like opening up a curtain and seeing myself. It was one of the most exciting, liberating experiences I've ever had. So yes, you can change whatever you like. It's always yours. You have that choice. That is so empowering, isn't it? It is. Yeah. It is. Yeah, it's exciting. Yeah, because we do have choices. Sometimes we think, oh, we're set with this. The face is changing constantly. Yeah. When you create an understanding about yourself, I can watch a person's face change before me, because all of a sudden they've had this internal knowing of something and their face begins to express it. It isn't static, it's constantly there to change. Wow. Yeah. I love the empowerment that brings. Just firstly, the knowing, and secondly, the ability to alter, you know. Yeah. The eyes, the beautiful eyes, all about the deep inner feelings of the heart. And we're often aware that when we meet someone, we do meet them through the eyes, eye to eye. Go to the soul. We certainly do. And the right eye is all about the physical personality. The left eye is about soul quality. So with eyes, we're looking at balance, we're looking at size, we're looking at equality, level, shine in the eyes, the gaze. So when we see that eyes are wide apart, we know for that person it's going to lessen that mental quickness. Right. If we look at the other extreme of being close, we know that they may have a narrow viewpoint. They may be suspicious. They may lack warmth. It may challenge trust. And these are just how they are. They are incubators. So they'll keep a lot to themselves and they'll keep incubating all of that. Bringing it out is always going to be a challenge for them. Wow. The ideal eye is the one where we can see our eye, another eye in here, and this eye. So they're balanced right across. You know, we can have large and small eyes. The large, they're very bold, responsible people. The smaller eyes, they're cautious. They may be less outgoing. They won't necessarily, they'll think a lot. They might not do. And they're often alone. You see the eye level where it slopes upwards. They're very proud, outgoing people who take risks. When they're pointing downwards, they're those really decent, generous, constant heart people. So meeting through the eyes, we're getting to understand that deep heart expression that sits there. We may see people who have white right around the eyes, so the iris is not attached either upper or lower, and we know there's stress, we know there's instability. It even can go into temper or violence.
Wow.
So it's just an awareness. I have a son in the police force. To have that knowing is really important, because when they're in situations of meeting someone who is distracted in life, they know then how to be with them.
Yeah.
This is a skill that everyone should have.
I couldn't agree more. I've been thinking, you know, women and men out dating, trying to, you know, meet partners. It would be very, very helpful. You know, you're out having a drink at the pub or whatever, and you can gauge, are they worth going for or not? Just
yes,
by looking at them.
I haven't done that for a while, but yes. So when you see the irises floating up, you're aware that they're disconnected to self, and they can be a danger to themselves and others. When you've got the irises sinking down, we know they're disconnected. They're lonely. They may be lonely, unhappy, and even lost connection with self. So we need to be in a different way with them.
Yes, as a reader, you would need to exude more. Well, you probably do it with everybody. You exude compassion, but doubly so with somebody like that.
Yeah. It's really heartfelt. Yeah. We've got the different colours, the browns, the warmth and passion. The hazel is the warmth and the sensitivity, very much understands others. The blue is intuitive. It depends on the depth of the blue. The blue can be intuitive, but when it gets lighter and lighter and lighter, they may be more calculating.
Right. That's interesting. My daughter has the most exquisite blue eyes. So
there's intuitive. Yep.
Absolutely fabulously intuitive. Yeah.
Then there's the green, which is all about courage. And I know my eyes change from blue to green. If I'm needing courage in a particular situation, I can look in the mirror and go, yeah, there's the green eyes. Yeah. And then sometimes there's the grey eyes, and it's sort of a very emotionally controlling space to be in. It's quite distant.
That is so interesting to me, because in ancient mythology, the goddess Athena was always described as the grey-eyed goddess.
Worth reflecting.
Yeah.
And we also see that purple ring around the iris, which tells us that in intuitive depth. Yeah. We've only got to the eyes, and there's so much more. I'm hoping everyone's enjoying this journey. Yeah.
I know they will be, and they'll all be running for a face reading.
Yeah, so now we've got to the beautiful nose, and I love the nose. It's all about identity, and it's a timeline. So it's from birth down to present time and everything in between. And you can see aspects of the nose which tells us specific moments of defining moments for the individual, or something that they're holding on that may have occurred when they're 16 and it's still very present in who they are now. So you're working from birth. Oh, the 16 might be about here. Oh, now this is present time.
Right.
Yeah. Which is a little bit more than 16 for me.
Yeah. And happy birthday to Robyn for recently. It was quite a milestone. So.
It is a milestone. Yes, I've had many years of journeying, for sure. Yeah. So when you see the people with the long nose, you've got that logical planner, but they can at times, because they believe they know it all through logic, they may look down at people a little. So just being aware of that.
And is that where we get the phrase to look down your nose at someone, you know?
Absolutely, yes. And it's long, it's quite a look down. You sometimes, that can be full. Sometimes you get the really narrow noses, and those people can be extremely witty, but what they're actually covering up potentially is some insecurity. So their humour hides that, but they can be fun in the moment. Yeah. When you've got the broad nose, you've got the stability. You know that person has staying power. When it's shorter, they're more vulnerable, they're emotionally sensitive, and at times maybe it appears like they're less determined.
Right.
When the nose points to the upper lip, you've got that high creativity, that sensuality. When we've got the snub nose, where we can actually see the nostrils, they can be quite flirty or they can be aloof. You're never quite sure. They can be happy-go-lucky, and at the same time, they can be totally irresponsible, according to everyone's perspective of responsibility. If we work with the tip of the nose, so if people move their nose back and forth, if it's soft and fleshy, the person is sensitive. There's warmth in all their actions. Yeah, there's flexibility. When it's pointed, those people come to the point promptly. They're good in business. They're inquisitive. They want to know. They want to come to the point quickly. When there's a groove, you often see a groove here in the nose. Yeah, that's all about indecision.
Oh, right.
Yeah. And because it's there in present time, it's right at this point in time. So the nostrils, we could talk a lot about the nostrils, but really they're all about the breathing pattern that we have, the vitality that we have. Obviously, the big nostrils, there's more of that breathing in and the vitality. The finer nostrils, it's more difficult for the breath to come through. So it's really about whether there's emotional freedom or restriction.
Right. Wow, you can tell that from the nostrils. That's incredible.
Yeah. So we're moving through the face and we're looking at the beautiful cheeks. And I can see the expansion of the cheeks within you. It's all about ambition and cheekiness. I think that fits you very well.
Yes, I know. My kids will certainly attest to the cheekiness.
And it's about how we support the emotional aspect, because they sit within our emotional space, if we remember the division of the three. So when we've got those high, flat cheeks, it's all about dignity, being dignified. When you see the fleshy cheeks, it's about the humour.
Right, that's interesting.
Yeah. And when you see the chubby cheeks, they're the nurturers. Being, the deep nurturing. We come to the ears. The ears are all about, we store everything we know in our ears. It's all there. It's whether we leave it there or whether we bring it forward. It's all about listening to reality, your reality. So when we see those large ears, they cover the three zones, the mental, emotional, physical. They anchor the mental to the physical. So it creates that lovely balance.
Wow.
It's the same pretty much with medium ears too, that bringing the mental and the physical together in most cases. The medium ears, they're very steady emotionally. They tend to achieve their goals. When we have the small ears, it's very much about the individual. They trust themselves. They don't necessarily trust others. It's a learning process for them. They desire to be themselves, the individual.
When I was little, I had ears that stuck out quite a bit, and my mother asked me when I was sort of 8 or 9 years old if I wanted to have an operation to have them pinned back. And I felt, probably my eyebrows coming into play here, felt very independent about that and thought, no, this is who I am. This is the way God made me. I'm not having an operation.
Yeah, well, you're listening. You're out there listening. My husband had the same experience at school as well.
Wow.
Which was many years ago. They wanted to pin his ears back because they stuck out, and yet there he was the fourth of 5 boys, and he was always listening and saying that's how he got his knowing and understanding of what was going on in the family.
Wow.
To pin them back would have taken
Yes.
deeper into himself and become more reclusive, being the fourth of five and having quite strong brothers, older brothers, you know, him finding his identity, and yet they were wanting to flatten that back. Yeah.
I'm so glad I didn't have it done.
Yeah. And Mum would have come from a place of deep care.
Oh, I know. Absolutely. Yes. Yeah. She just had a quiet daughter.
We're coming to the last aspect, which is the physical. We're now into the physical. So we have the mouth, we have the lips, we have the jaw, and we have the chin. The mouth is all about the taste for life. It's all about the creativity of the individual. It speaks, it feeds, it expresses, and it also suppresses. So the top lip is all about sensuality, sexuality, creativity, and passion. And creativity is many, many things. It's all about the degree of the passion. And the bottom lip is about the freedom of vocal expression. So if we see someone with a large mouth, we're seeing the extrovert. We're seeing also the generosity. When the small mouth, or it's pursed like this, people hold back with their words. They're quite introverted. They can be suspicious. They may not require, they avoid company.
Wow.
When we get the really thin lips, we may find the loneliness.
Hello.
even that sense of feeling inferior. And there may be some deep grief that creates a sort of a bitterness or an insensitivity. Yeah. When we see the straight line, those people are very careful. They're very calculating. And these are just different ways of being and expressing out or not expressing out. With understanding, people are able to see how they work with this incredible creative part of themselves. When you see those even lips that are flowing upwards, it's like that internal smiling nature. It's so beautiful to meet and to be greeted within that space.
What about heavily Botoxed lips? That's probably going to change a person's personality in that regard.
Very much so, because if you're getting the larger lips, you're seeing they want more of that creativity or that sensuality or sexuality. It may go over the top and become very loud, or it may just expand who you are. So if you've had the very fine lips and you have that done, you suddenly realize that you're able to express more creatively. So whatever you do to yourself, it's yours.
Yes.
It's your decision. It will change things.
I think about, there was that woman years ago who was in all the magazines called Catwoman, who'd had all this surgery done to her eyes that was just too much, and it's got to, from this perspective, it's got to really affect you, I imagine, quite detrimentally.
Yeah. And you've made, she's made the choice to do that. So how is she wanting to express herself? Has it honored her or has it dishonored her? Only she will know.
That's right. That's her journey, isn't it?
It is. When the lower lip protrudes out, and there's one member of parliament, I think it's our Prime Minister, that certainly has this aspect. That's a lot about just filling the space. Yeah, just that constant chatter, sometimes disregarding that deeper, more creative part of self. When the upper lip protrudes, it's all about that excessive sensuality. Yeah. And when you've got the beautiful even lips, that's all about someone who feels the space. You're getting the best of both worlds.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah. And we simply now come to the jaw and the chin. We've almost worked our way through the face.
It's been wonderful.
Yeah. The jaw is about the foundation of life. So if you've got a wide jaw, we're knowing the strength, we're knowing the strong mind, we're knowing the sacrifice. When we've got a deep jaw, we know the strength of will. We know the determination. It's whether it's coming straight out or it's coming on an angle. So if you're seeing the curve, you can still have that deep strength of will, but they'll be more agreeable and flexible in how they express it, depending on what happens with the chin. And the chin is really about supporting life. It is the supporter of life. It's about willpower. It's about that desire for love, that desire for security. So if we've got a chin that's quite weak and receding back, there's a sense for that person of lack of support. Yeah. If it's sloping right back, they may be extremely challenged and will not speak up.
Wow.
Yeah. And when it's not in alignment with that creative aspect of ourself, we may have this incredible creativity and then we withdraw just at the point of when we can deliver it.
Oh, that's so
the
sad.
receding chin. And it just becomes an awareness. Once you're aware of that, then you can begin to make the changes on your behalf. If it's jutting forward, and we see quite a bit of that as well, there's a lot of mental drive, there's a lot of determination. In fact, they may just drive too hard and forget their beautiful creative expression. If it's pointed, we know they're very, very sensitive. They may need help with grounding themselves.
Right.
And then when it's wide, they're grounded, they're stable, and they're vital. And we can meet all of those aspects, and each one of them is how that person is in their delivery in life. And we deeply respect who they are and how they are able to do that.
Wow.
So that completes
That's amazing.
the taste of face reading.
It's wonderful. And I can't help but wonder, we've talked a lot about changing our externals that will then affect our being. But obviously the reverse is true as well. If we change our perspective and our attitude, like, for example, thin-lipped people, if I was to add more sensual experiences to my life or enjoy them or focus on them and be present in them, then that could change the expression in my...
Yeah, and you become aware of that. And there's total interaction as I'm reading someone's face. I'm hearing how it is for them. I'm beginning to see them deeper and deeper. I can see what's in the face, but I'm beginning to see what's deeper within them as I hear their expression back to me. You know, this is a moment where they may be being seen for the first time. And it's very honoring for me to be within that experience with another person. And when I've completed that face reading, then I'll bring out the face splits because I've taken the photo. And they will be able to see their original face, their right-hand side as a whole face, and their left-hand side as a whole face. So it's visually all there for them. So they're seeing how they are in the external world when we look at the right-hand side in their masculine, and how they are with themselves on the left-hand side in the internal world, the feminine. And it begins to be drawn into, well, where are you on soul's journey? What is it that you want to work with in this moment? We know where you are through the face reading. Now it's finding that pathway to your uniqueness. Everything that I've read in that face is uniquely you. You are not like anyone else. You are uniquely you. So when we look at the masculine and the feminine, there may be an understanding, and there usually is. There are differences. And we begin to see, are they, the right and the left hand aspects of you, are they walking together? Are they walking on the same pathway? Or are they on two different footpaths where they'll occasionally look at each other, but just keep walking alone? To feel the wholeness of who we are, we want to bring them together. And that's part of the journey. Doing the soul journey work is able to take them deeper into who they are. You know, it's all in the face, and it represents the body. It's all of who you are. And it opens the doors to your awareness, your growth and your advancement of your soul on the human journey, because we are a soul on a human journey. We've been given this particular body in this face to express that. So whenever we do a past life regression, the face reading is an integral part of it. Yeah. And I love it. I love it.
It's fascinating. I know I'm going to get questions from potential clients saying, does Robyn do face reading alone, because I'm a bit nervous about a past life regression?
Oh, absolutely. Yes, I will certainly do the face reading in itself. You do not have to do the past life regression if you don't desire to do. And I will give 20% off January, February for a face reading as well. So I will expand it into that.
Oh, that's wonderful. I think that people are going to love this, because knowing ourselves and giving ourselves this self-knowledge is one of the most empowering things a person can do. I mean, that's what Plato said. The greatest thing a person can do in their life is to know themselves. So here is another tool, another mechanism to understand ourselves, and in doing so, to understand others. And
absolutely, that is the ongoing aspect of it, because you will begin, even hearing what I've just said there, you will now go out and you'll begin to see aspects of it in other people, and it becomes very exciting.
Yes. Yeah. I'm already thinking about my kids and my friends, and I'm like, yeah, it really adds up. It really does.
Yes, it does. Yes. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for sharing that incredible wealth of information with us today, Robyn. If you would like a face reading with Robyn, then head to the link in the description box to the wellness page, the Wellness Hub page. Book a reading with Robyn there at 20% off for January and February. It is so exciting to start the new year with a bit of self-knowledge, and Robyn she can't wait and be able to do that for you. So thank you, Robyn, for joining us and sharing this wonderful information.
It's been my absolute pleasure. And I was just going to say, I have wonderful times with my grandchildren. They'll say, Nan, can you do a face reading on me? And so it can be a playful interaction with the younger people in life, and they actually get to also know more about themselves. They begin to ask more questions. So it's for everyone.
Well, thank you one and all for joining us for this wonderful journey through our faces. We hope you have a glorious 2022, and we look forward to sharing more with Robyn as the year progresses. Thank you, Robyn, and thank you, everybody.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thank you.
Bye-bye.